Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to talk about 3 misconceptions about index cards, specifically how I use index cards and why I do use index cards. And this video actually came as an idea from a comment that I received from somebody, a viewer. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to dissect this. We're going to talk this out because I thought, I'm going to look into how I use index cards, and I'm going to be very real and transparent and rational, and not just look at the fact that I love them. Now, I love index cards because they're cheap, they're accessible, and I love that they are fidget friendly. I have a lot of nervous energy, and just working with index cards helps me relieve stress, to be honest. But do they really help me? And is there any truth to some of these things that this commenter shared? So let's jump into it. First of all, she said, aren't there just too many cards? Isn't it overwhelming? No. To be honest with you, I sat down, I thought about this critically. I tried to be very self-reflective about it, self-aware, and I realized that no, it's not too many cards for me, and this is why. I use just the right amount of cards, depending on my need. Now, I'm not going to get into how I use index cards for planning, because again, that's for another video, another time. However, I will say that the amount of index cards I use for any given thing is self-adjusting. Now, what do I mean by that? If I'm working on outlining a book, I use only the amount of index cards that I need for that book. So maybe on one chapter, I might have 10 cards. On another chapter, I might have 3 cards. And so all of those cards, I add or take away as needed. You know what? I used to work in notebooks, and I still do, for jotting down some ideas and just brainstorming and brain dumping. However, I did not like keeping my ideas in a notebook because, well, sometimes I blew through a notebook, then I found I had to get another notebook, and then I'm suddenly carrying around many different notebooks, or I'm organizing or storing different notebooks. Then I used a binder from some time, and I used dividers and loose leaf paper, and while that works too, I found it far more difficult to adjust. Whereas index cards, I can take away, I can add. Again, I can get different size binder clips, or excuse me, binder rings. To be honest with you, I favor a 1 inch to 1 1/4 inch binder ring. So I just love the fact that no, there aren't too many cards. There are just the right amount, self-adjusted to whatever my need is. So for example, if I'm grocery shopping, oftentimes I don't have 1 index card. I have 4 index cards. Why is that? I buy different things at different stores in order to save money. So I would not buy my cleaning products, for example, or my toilet paper or my tissue boxes at my local grocery store because I buy them at Target because it's cheaper. So I'd have an index card for my Target shopping list. Then when I was done at Target, I'd throw it away. And then I have another index card for my groceries that I buy at a grocery store called Winco near my home. That's the cheapest place for me to buy canned food, for example. But Lord have mercy, I would never, ever, ever buy my, disinfecting wipes there, or my laundry detergent. So on and so forth. Again, self-adjusting to the need. There's not too many. There's just the right amount. The next question is, isn't it or the other misconception, I should say. This person said, isn't it too much clutter? Isn't it just too many cards? I mean, my God, what do you do with all those cards? Well, you know what? You have a system. And first of all, just because I use a lot of index cards does not mean I keep all of my index cards. In a previous video, or no, actually I think it's a future video I'm going to film, I'm going to talk about the 2 different types of index cards I use and what purposes I use those for. But suffice to say, for this video, I use them short-term and long-term. Short-term, when I'm done with it, with that index card, it immediately gets recycled. I get rid of it. I don't hang on to it. Those kinds of index cards would be for like my grocery lists, for taking down notes during meetings, for scratch paper, for notes on the go. I keep a stash of index cards in my purse. those are all short-term uses that I would not keep the index cards for. However, do I keep my longer-term index cards? Absolutely. And I just took it off camera. Let me show you again. First of all, when I use index cards for project planning, they aren't cluttered because I keep them bound together by project using a binder ring. Now, first of all, you can buy index cards that are pre-punched. I don't do that. They're too expensive and I don't like the quality. So what do? I buy Oxford heavyweight index cards. Let me see if I can find the package for you here. This is what the package looks like. I buy these off Amazon, and I will leave a link down below. I regularly spend $2.99 for 100, but you can oftentimes find them on sale for $1.99 a package. And when they go down that low, I stock up. So for my longer term or reference cards or my project planning cards, I always use the Oxford heavyweight ruled cards. And again, I only use 3x5 cards. Index cards come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, and even colors, but my personal preference is 3x5. So I buy these heavyweight cards, and then I can't use a hand hole punch because I have psoriatic arthritis and it's too difficult on my hands. But what I did is at a local thrift store, I found a cheap hole punch, a three hole punch, and I just moved the I don't even know what you call it, the actual punch portion, in order to be able to punch 10 to 15 cards at a time. It's an industrial one, and so I punch all of my own cards. Yes, it takes a little time, but 1, I get better quality cards. 2, I save some money. And 3, you know what? It's kind of fun to just sit and watch TV and punch a bunch of cards. There's something fulfilling and rewarding about that. So for my planning cards, they are always organized and punched and held together with a binder ring. And I love that because then if I shift projects a lot depending on what I feel like working on or priorities, what's due when. And so if I want to work on a project, all I do is grab that particular deck that I'm working on. And as far as clutter goes, no, I also use elastic. I shared that in another video. 1/4-inch braided elastic to keep my decks together if I want to throw them in my purse or my work bag or just in the basket by my desk. So I keep them very neat, tidy, and organized. I don't find this to be too much clutter at all. In fact, this, if you want to call it clutter, because it is a lot of cards, these cards are a concrete symbol of all the stuff that's no longer cluttering up my thoughts or taking up space in my head. I get it out of my head and down to a card, and then I can deal with it. It's concrete, and I can know, okay, I can set that thought or idea or even worry aside because I'll deal with it later. I'll tackle it when I can, but I don't have to hold it in my working memory. It's on a card. So I love that. Now, the other way I keep my cards from becoming too much of a clutter, I pulled this out of my drawer. I have and I apologize, it's not on camera. There we go. I have a cheap file cabinet that actually just features a file drawer at the bottom and then 2 smaller, just like regular old office supply drawers on top. And I found it at the local thrift store for $4.99. Can't beat that with a stick. Took a little elbow grease. It's not the prettiest thing, but you know, it's functional and that's all I care about. So I can't leave a link or anything for that. But what I did is I converted the bottom little office supply drawer to my index card drawer. And to do that, I have bought these bricks, and I should actually show you this as well. These are called Like It bricks from the Container Store. I have found sets of them for sale on Amazon. And you know what? I'll go ahead and throw a link to that down below as well if I can find that. But the Container Store, you can make a purchase online anywhere in the country. Heads up, these are not cheap. I know that they're just plastic bins, but they are not cheap. And by that, I believe I spent, I think these are $6 or $7 each. This big one might be $10. But let me tell you why I love them, first of all, and then I'm going to show you how I organize these and keep it from being cluttered. They are just the perfect width for index cards. There's a little play, but very little. And I also like the height. I didn't want to have to deal with a lid. I wanted to be able to just flip through my cards. I like that feeling. It's easy to see at a glance. And again, when this is actually in my drawer, there's enough clearance and I can just see all of my tabs. And this is just one of my trays. Believe you me. Full transparency, I've got a couple of these. But again, they're all organized, and there's just something thrilling about seeing everything in order and being able to thumb through it very easily. Now, this one, the Like It brick does not come with this. This is just a drawer knob that I bought cheap off Amazon. Why did I do that? Because I like to be able to grab it and move it around on my desk. All right, as long as we're getting into the weeds here, I'm going to show you this one. This one I use at my writing desk, and I actually keep all of my project decks, current projects that I'm working on. Let me just shove them in here so you can see. So I keep the binder rings, and they just stay on my desk. And so I move this around, and then whatever project I want to work on, I grab it and then flip to wherever I am in the writing process. So the cost of this little box has well earned its keep. I'm very much into saving money. However, I also like quality and things that make my life easier. So that is a win-win-win. And I will say, with all of these different sizes, the other thing I like about these Like It bricks is you can get, for just like, I think it was $3 or $4, a package of these little plastic dividers. So let's say you don't have enough cards to actually stand up. Let's see, let me show you what I mean. If you put them in here just like that, they just fall down. You can buy these little dividers, and they literally just snap in, and you can adjust it. You can put it wherever you want in the Like It brick, and it will hold things standing up, and you could actually use that as an organizational tool to organize your projects. So again, I'll talk more about project planning and how I do that with my index cards in another video, but I wanted to show you this box. And here is another one, again, that I also used a drawer knob on so I can move it around on my desk. This is actually my business desk, and on this one I keep, full disclosure, I have an addiction to lip balm chapstick, so I always have one near both of my desks, so I keep that in here. I keep Post-it notes, because I have a little board on my wall where I keep meetings and things that I can't forget. But I also have a couple different tabs here that are germane or relevant to my work desk. So these would be notes that I want to have at the ready and easy to grab. And then I also keep just cheap blank index cards here that I actually buy at Target for scratch paper or scratch notes. And then I keep a calculator nearby. But these Like It bricks are awesome. So this is like my working, I would call it my working box. And I keep one of those at each of my desks. But in my drawer, I keep my main stash. Again, getting back to the clutter. Sorry, I digress. It's not clutter because it's organized. And this, I heard it said somewhere that your brain is not a storage locker, so don't use it like one. So, a lot of people keep commonplace books. Well, I keep commonplace cards, and this is just how I do that. And just to give you a quick look at what I have in here, I have reference cards, so things that I want to remember, like measurements for book layout and things like that. Inspiration, if I hear something or I want to make a note of it so I don't forget, I can go to that. Ideas, thoughts, and potential projects that I'm thinking about in the future. Aphorisms or sayings. I've got a whole slew of those. Don't let yesterday use up too much of today. Focus is greater than freedom. You can't fight your enemy with emotion. So just sayings that I've heard that I want to keep track of. I also have memes that I've collected. Let's see. Oh, I love this. Let's see. I don't know if you can see it on. This is true. This is true. This is truth. Please consider before talking or typing. So in other words, this meme talks about the importance of perspective, that two different perspectives can be correct. 6 months, you will have 6 months of excuses or 6 months of progress. The choice is yours. So for these, all I did is I was collecting memes in a folder on my computer, but I wasn't actually getting to enjoy them. They were just staying in the folder on the computer. So one day I decided, no, I want to see these. I want to be reminded of these. Oh, this is another good one. Never run back to what broke you. So what do? I collect them on a document on my computer, and then when that document's full, I print it, and then I just cut it all up, cut them out each, and then paste each one to a index folder, or index card, sorry. And then it goes into this part of my index card stash, all organized under memes. Last but not least, I also keep anecdotes, stories from my life that I don't want to forget that can serve as inspiration for books I write or things that I share. So again, this is just one of them, but this does not look like clutter to me at all. This is only one. I have 4 of these, but they're organized. They have meaning. They help me sort through things that are important to me, things that I want to remember, things that I have to reference. Is this clutter? Absolutely not. Is it a lot of cards? Yes. But again, it is very intentionally organized in order to help me, not hurt me. Now, last but not least, isn't it too difficult or complicated to work with? And I thought about that for a second. I thought, well, what do they mean by that? Because my index cards actually help me work. And then I thought, well, I could see it'd be kind of frustrating if you got to take all these cards with you if you're going to work somewhere, or let's say I want to go work at a local cafe. I disagree 100%, and here's why. I would so much rather grab one deck of cards for whichever project I'm working on than to take a whole slew of notebooks or a big old binder. I've shared it before. I'll share it again. I have psoriatic arthritis. It doesn't define what I do, but it does affect my decisions, especially how I work. And there was a time where I could take a big old heavy tote bag or work bag wherever I want. Those days are long since gone. I have to preserve my strength and not cause a flare. And so a deck of cards this size and my laptop is going to be far less heavy than a bunch of loose leaf notes in a big old 3-ring binder, or 2 or 3 notebooks. Because what if I have my ideas in one notebook, but I have my references and my resources in another notebook, but then I have my deadlines or chapter outlines in another notebook? No. Again, my index cards aren't too difficult or complicated to work with because, one, they're easy to carry. I can take and tote along just what I need. And they also help me single task. I can focus and look at just one index card at a time instead of flipping through multiple pages or accessing different notebooks or notes elsewhere. So those are the 3 misconceptions I've heard in comments on some of my videos. And you know what? Everyone is certainly welcome and have the freedom to their opinion. But I did want to address those here because maybe it could shed some light and insight into different ways or the different positive sides of using index cards. I'm absolutely an advocate for going analog when it comes to getting creative and working on our mental health. And I gotta say, using index cards to help me plan and work and function on a daily basis absolutely helps my mental health. So on that note, I want to thank you for watching. If you have any other misconceptions you've heard about index cards or ways that help you work with index cards or work well because of index cards, please let me know in the comments below. And with that, I'm going to say bye-bye, and I will see you in the next video.